Hello everyone and welcome back. In our last video we attended a wedding and then promptly left Ohio for different horizons. On our first day of driving we made it to the Gateway of the West, also known as the St. Louis Arch. We made it to the southern part of Missouri before waking up and heading back through Oklahoma and eventually into the panhandle of Texas. We finally made it to Amarillo, where we picked up our new tab camper and hitched up and then left very quickly in order to make it across to New Mexico before it was too late in the evening. We awoke to such a beautiful sunrise in New Mexico. Unfortunately, it also proved as a warning to the awful weather we would eventually run into. Unfortunately, we do have a story about Google Maps, which redirected us multiple times and into the weather we were so hoping to avoid. You'll see the dark and looming clouds starting to appear as we head further west towards Arizona. We finally made it to Arizona, where we caught up to some of the rainstorms coming from Utah, which eventually turned into sleet and ice. And then over to snow, turning the barren scrub brush land into a winter wonderland. Unfortunately, it got much worse beyond this point, as Google took us up a mountain road through the Tonto National Forest, and we eventually ended up getting stopped due to multiple crashes and jackknife semi-trucks on the small mountain road. We sat for hours, and unfortunately with all of that sitting created a giant hazardous ice rink for all of the roads, which made awful conditions for those not even with large rigs. And unfortunately it got us to where we were stuck on a steep grade incline and we could not move anywhere forward due to the ice. Fortunately, we had a good Samaritan stop to help us, and this is why it is so important as a nomad that you have tow straps available for your vehicle. We had tow straps. We also had traction boards for these type of scenarios, and we were able to get out thanks to the help from that gentleman. Eventually, we made it down from elevation and could see these lights of Phoenix. We made it to our hotel late in the evening, where Vinny let out some much needed stress relief. After relaxing in a hotel, we made it onward to our next home for the couple months, which was the small town of Buckeye on the outskirts of Phoenix. we decided to stay at an RV resort, which includes a lot of the typical amenities such as a laundry facility on site, a pool, lounge area, showers, all of that fun stuff that you certainly pay for. But here is our little home sweet home. But there was not a lot of relaxing as Paul had to head onward to his job for the season. Which did not turn out as expected. Hello everyone. If you're seeing me, this means that something probably didn't turn out right. Let's get into it. So a lot of you know, and I'm sure we talked to you, that Paul was going to be working for Amazon under the Camper Force program. That is a program that is designed specifically for the RVing crowd, where they are paid a stipend every week on their paychecks to come work seasonally, and that stipend can go towards their campground fees. And so we thought it sounded like a great program. You know, we had heard some things, where some people didn't quite like it, but a lot of them were older, and we just kind of figured maybe it was just rough for them being on their feet all the time and stuff like that, which Paul was used to. So we're like, let's give it a shot. So we applied way back in April for the position, for this winter seasonal position. Paul went through a very convoluted and crazy application process. Things where he would just get random messages like, hey, you need to attend this on-site meeting in a month down in Arizona, when we were up in Colorado. And then when you accept the invite, it's like, oh, just kidding. That wasn't a real meeting. You don't have to be on site. I don't know what it was. Just obviously a weird electronic disconnect with a human HR representative. I have no idea. Anyways, so that was one of the kind of weird things, was the actual application process that we went through. Paul eventually got the, hey, you're good to go take your drug test, and if it comes back, we'll send you the dates for start. So he did the drug test, which was also kind of confusing on the emails, but we got through it. And we were ready to go. I had already booked our RV site out in Arizona for the couple months that we would be there for Paul while he was working at that seasonal job. And we were good to go. But come 2 weeks before we were supposed to start heading out to Arizona, he received an email saying that they had changed the dates to a few dates prior to his original start date, to have him come in to do I-9 forms, which is pretty standard and stuff, and so, but it shouldn't have been a big deal. A lot of companies, they ask you for your I-9 information, usually the day of your start date. So we had Paul kind of call and say, hey, we can't make the I-9 appointment. We don't even have our RV site booked for that date. So we won't even be in town. And so he talked to some of the representatives. I think one was like a chat, so obviously it was an automated bot system for HR. And they said, yeah, you're fine. Bring your I-9 docs on your day one. It's no big deal. And he also talked to somebody on the phone with Amazon, and they said the same thing. And so Paul took notes. He kept his messages and everything, saying that he could bring in his I-9 docs and all that information for day one, since he could not make that specific appointment. So as you saw the hellacious weather that we were in and got stuck in, we were settled into our hotel down in Phoenix for just a day to kind of decompress before we went over to our official RV site. And Paul got an email saying, hey, your application has been canceled. And so we were both like, okay. Paul ended up again calling and talking to somebody. The person was a live person, but they again said the same thing. Bring your I-9 docs, bring copies of the text messages you have saying it's okay to bring your I-9 docs in. So Paul goes to his first day. We get settled at the RV site and everything, and he goes to his official first day at Amazon, gets to the trainer that's on site, and they tell him, you cannot work, you have to send an email to this generic HR email address. So at this point, we were frustrated, and we were just done. You know, it's really disappointing. I can't imagine, like, why Amazon thinks that's a really efficient process. But there's a lot of disconnect. And so I won't rant about it. I'm sure there's other people and plenty of videos ranting about Camper Force. You don't need another one. But, anyway, so he said no. He said campground stipend or not, you know, there's plenty of work. We're in Phoenix. This is one of the top growing economies at the moment. We're in a metropolitan area. There's plenty of work here, and there is plenty of work here in Phoenix. We passed, I cannot even tell you how many warehouses that we're hiring, how many restaurants are hiring. I mean, good seasonal work for nomads who live out here full time. There's definitely work, and even just, you know, if you're down here for the winter months, seasonal work to pick up. And so anyways, he ended up getting on with a warehouse that was less than a mile from our RV park. He has a much better start time than what he originally had. The hours are a lot better. And you know, it worked out in the end. And actually, I think paid a little bit more. Obviously, we're not getting the campground stipend, but it all worked out in the end. And that's something that I think you'll see that's been a recurring theme for us, is that things that we plan on don't always necessarily happen how we think they're going to happen. But in the end, they work out. And a lot of times it's usually for the better. So we are just going with the flow. And, you know, I think we're happier with what happened. And yeah, so I just wanted to take a moment to explain that, because I feel like we told so many people, hey, yeah, he's going to Amazon, he's going to work at Amazon, and then he's not working at Amazon. So anyways, I will get back to the video. Thanks. With the new trailer set up, Vinny made himself quite comfy. And I must say that I was happy to once again have a nice working kitchen that I did not have to set up. This is just a quick recipe that I threw together using some fresh broccoli slaw, some Guardian teriyaki chicken strips, and just some simple sauce. As you can see, Paul was working hard to get us set up outside while I was inside doing domestic duties. We used a sauce from Panda Express. Just kind of sauteed everything together with some seasoning. Unfortunately, just a little too much sauce. But we'll make it work. It ended up a-okay. Later on, we ended up going out to explore the surrounding areas and kind of take in some of the scenes, but you'll have to wait for the next video to see that. In the meantime, stay tuned and take care, my friends.